welcome to the Wild Enthusiasm for Living podcast. I am your host, Dr. Melissa Mann. Join me for conversations about possibilities and tools for having more joy, more play, and way more of you. What would it be like to wake up every day with a wild enthusiasm for living? Hello and welcome to the Wild Enthusiasm for Living podcast. I am your host, Dr. Melissa Mann, and today I am here with my new friend, Dr. Rick Diamond. Welcome, Dr. Rick. Thank you so much for being here with me today.
Oh, thank you, Melissa. I'm so glad to be here. I love what your show is about. I love this idea of wild enthusiasm for living. I'm totally in. I'm with you.
Well, thank you so much. Thank you so much for being here. And Dr. Rick Diamond, you are a story healer, and that is what we are here to talk about today. And I have seen your work online and I love everything that you're doing and being in the world. And I was like, I wonder if you'd come be here with me today. So I would love to hear, what is being a story healer? What does that look like? And can you tell us a little bit about your journey? Because I imagine you weren't always a story healer. So
I think at some, it's really interesting. I'm writing a book about story healing as a modality and about my own spiritual and emotional and personal journey. And I think at some level, I fell in love with stories and the idea of meaning making through story as a kid, which is probably true for all of us, don't you think? I mean, we love hearing stories, we love reading comics or reading epic adventures or watching movies or playing video games. And the best video games are stories, right? We're just moving through a whole experience where the character goes through a transformation. I fell in love with stories. I was a college English teacher for 10 years, and I fell in love with literature. It was all about, poetry and story and drama and all that stuff, and started having what I think I'm accurately describing as being spiritual experiences or spiritual awakenings, where I felt something happening and then didn't know what to do with that. And I went to I didn't have any other context. So I went to my first wife and two kids and I were all going to our little neighborhood church. And I went to the pastor and said, "What's happening? I have really big questions about things I didn't have when I was younger." And he said, "Well, have you ever thought about thinking about theology or philosophy or the meaning of life as a whole bunch of stories?" That was literally 30 plus years ago when I had that conversation with that guy.
Wow. So you really always have been a story healer.
Yeah. I think almost immediately I started thinking about, how do I understand all of my experience and everybody else's experience as a story? And I mean, you sit down with somebody, you want to hear their story.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember when I was dating back in the day, and I would say, "Okay, what's your life story? Go." And that was sort of my opening line, because I wanted to hear people's stories, and that's how you connect to people and can imagine what life might be from their perspective.
Exactly. And if I know somebody's story, I know them. Do you know what I mean? And I'm always going to be empathetic to somebody, and I'm always going to care more about what they're going through if I know their story. If I stop with, this is my model for you, this is my label for you, this is my category I've assigned you to, I don't care about their story. I don't care about what they're going through. I don't care about their larger meaning making process. I've already got them categorized and I can check them off the list. But I'd much rather hear everybody's story, everybody I can hear. So I ended up going into ministry for 10 years, was in the regular church, and found myself falling in love with how messy my own spiritual journey was. And sometimes that fit and sometimes that didn't, depending on the context.
Sure.
And so I ended up sort of, I think, vibrating out of regular church. And then I ended up leading a very experimental, crazy, weird, lovely, non-faith, interfaith faith community here in Austin for 17 years.
Wow.
And it was all about listening to each other's stories and hearing each other's experience and bearing witness to each other. Plus, the whole time, my favorite thing was to sit with somebody and say, tell me where you came from. Tell me what's up. Tell me what you believe in. Tell me what your story is. And I've done lots and lots of men's retreats and lots of co-ed retreats over the years. And it always comes down to, I would just want to hear your story and hear what makes you tick and what broke your heart and what you care about. And out of that, over the last 3 years, I've been doing a specific story healing practice, which basically says there's nothing wrong with you. You're great. You're wonderful. You're magnificent. You're amazing. Can we look at your story and see if there's something in your story that maybe we could rethink together, that we can reimagine together? And I absolutely love it.
That's incredible. So tell me, what does that look like? So I kind of understand like why you got into this and where the story thing came from.
Mhm.
So you're a story healer. So people identify a lot with their stories a lot of the times, or
Yeah.
this is what led me to write now. And sometimes I find that people get really stuck in their stories as though there isn't a way to overcome sort of their lot in life. So is that part of what story healing looks like?
Mhm.
Like, what is that?
Yeah. Melissa, you totally pegged it. We get so attached to our story. We don't, and think about it. We've been told this story about ourselves, whether it came from our family of origin, our culture of origin, our religion of origin, our neighborhood, our nation, media. We've been told these things about ourselves forever, or at least certainly since we were in formative years, and along the way by coaches and mentors and the choir teacher and the swim coach and the whole thing. Like, we don't know that's not who we are. We think that we are this story, this template that has been laid out for us. And so then when people have that awakening, whatever it is, whether there's a divorce or a crisis or there's a question, or maybe they just are expanding and the old story doesn't fit anymore, the idea of leaving the story, their response is, well, now what? Like, what am I? Do I exist? Like, what happens now if I'm not this other thing? If I'm not that person's wife? If I'm not in that role in the workplace? If I'm not in that same pain that I've been in? If I'm not defined by this grudge that I've been carrying, who am I? So the whole process becomes, what is the belief? Where did it come from? How did it get grounded into your body, your emotions, your thinking? We analyze it. We look at things like, what's the role you've been playing and what are the agreements that you made to play this role, and do those fit you anymore? And then comes along the way, so do you know what you want instead? And that's where magical things can happen, because if somebody says, well, if I'm not that, then I could be something different. And then we get to play.
Wow, that's amazing. And I bet that's really freeing for people. And I imagine there's a lot of people who don't know. They've always been this thing. And so, or they've always believed that this is what they are.
Yeah,
And they don't know how to even begin to formulate who they are beyond the story that they've told
right.
themselves and other people have kind of fed to them. So how do you start to do that with people to like help them look at like what would you like your story to be, or what would you like your life to be? Like, where do you start with somebody who's like, I have no idea?
Yeah. It's the thing that you just said, Melissa, is so smart. The when we are so identified with this thing that we have been. So one of the things that I do with people to help them not be identified as themselves, but to be identified not merely as this role that they've been playing, is to ask questions like, what are the things that make your heart sing? What are the things that you've experienced joy in? What are the things that align for you, like really align for you? Like when you're doing this activity or when you are following this particular pattern, what feels like it really resonates? And if we can find even a few of those things, like when somebody says, I loved art when I was a kid, and I just quit. I let go. One of my clients is a woman who had a big sort of a spiritual, emotional awakening when she was in her 20s, and she was pursuing it. And then one of her parents got sick and she became the caregiver for her parent. And then she found a job that would enable her to be the caregiver, which was also another caregiving job. And then 20 years went by, she said, where all she did was take care of everybody else. And she forgot about that part of herself that felt alive. Like, to reconnect to some part of ourselves that feels like it has fire in it, like it has possibility in it, like it has joy in it, like it has alignment in it. That is seems like it not big, like not that big a thing. It's big. Like, even to say, I want more of that, or I remember that, or what if I tried that? And then we just take one step. We don't have to do the whole, we don't have to have a complete awakening. Like, we can just say, try that for a month. Try just investing in that a couple of times a week. Spend 10 minutes meditating about, thinking about, journaling about this thing that you're interested in, even beginning to reclaim for yourself. And then their inner wisdom directs the process. I'm just running alongside the train. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm
I
just there.
do. And I
Yeah.
really love how empowering that approach is, that you're really
Mhm.
letting them lead and you're a guide to help people like figure out maybe what some of those things are, but then you, like you said, like you're really letting them allow it to unfold. And I think that can really be that empowering piece can be so helpful for people instead of you being like, okay, this is, what I'm prescribing you now.
Yeah.
Instead, you're like, why don't you play with that? Why don't you see where that takes you? And I'm here as a guide for you.
Hmm. Yeah. The play piece too makes space for the wisdom that neither I nor that client are going to have in the front of our heads, right? We're going to still be operating within what we can see, but there's something going on that's deeper. There's something going on that is that's wise, that's intuitive, that maybe is at a body level or at a soul level, that's gonna that's always ready to come forward if it's welcomed, like if we make space for it. So it's there's a kind of an art, there's a dance to this, and part of it is doing a lot of really careful listening. And sometimes I'll just say, hang on, let's just listen for a second. And then the right thing presents itself. Of course it does.
Wow. So you're almost doing like some, I don't know if you call it this, but like almost a meditative practice sort of with people to be like,
Mm-hmm.
let's listen to our intuition, to something, you know, what is that exactly? Is it intuition? Is it where are we looking at spirit guides? Like what's coming in that's sort of offering some of this?
Well, I'll take whatever help will come. You know what I mean? Like,
Fair.
you know what I mean? So, like, it's intuition, it's wisdom, it's our soul, it's our heart. If if people believe in and want to access their ancestors, the wisdom of their ancestors, or spirit guides, or God, or the universe, or source, I'm in. Like, let's go. Whoever will come and is helpful and loving and wants to be part of your process. And I led a retreat. Speaking of that, I led a retreat at Ghost Ranch in northern New Mexico, where
Oh,
Georgia
cool.
O'Keeffe painted for years and years and years.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful retreat center. It's amazing. It's a conference center. It's gorgeous. And there were a dozen of us, plus my wife and I. And I brought the curriculum for the retreat. Like, I knew the path that we were going to follow, which hilariously, now that I mention it, was called The Path You Choose. That was the name of the retreat.
Love that.
Um, and um, a number of times, like on the fly during the retreat, as the 14 of us were interacting with each other and being each other's medicine, and somebody would have something come up, I would sort of just like, look over at my notes and like scratch part of, like half of it out. That's weird. That's already happening. I don't need to say, I don't need to do that. Like, this is already happening all by itself. And on one of the breaks, my wife Christina Wisdom just cracked up and was just like, "You, this is all happening. This is all happening." And I was like, "Yes, it's all happening. Like, I'm not making this happen. It's all happening." So I can just be open to that flow and throw out half the curriculum I brought. I didn't need to say all that stuff. It's being taken care of, and other things that I didn't even expect are coming, which is even better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. That's really beautiful. And I was going to ask you about your retreats. I know that's one of the things that you do and engage with. You work with people individually, you do retreats.
Right.
And you said you have a book coming out. Is that right? You have a lot of things going on.
Yeah, I'm having a great time. I'm so grateful all the time. The retreat that I led, we used and I want to do it again. And I think there's a book in it. As I was leading that retreat, I was like, oh my gosh, I got to finish the other book I'm working on story healing and spirituality. Because this is a book too. This one used the Hansel and Gretel fairy tale that we all grew up with, where
Sure.
this sweet little, two children are let out in the woods and abandoned. And so many times people's story, when they talk about their story, is about a sense of abandonment,
So true.
right? I mean, whether it's in their family of origin, whether it's in their culture, whether, they go, I did all the stuff I was supposed to do and nothing worked out. And what happened? And where am I? And it's not fair and blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
And so that story is a story about this little boy and little girl wandering deeper and deeper into mystery and thinking they're lost. Oh, and then they find a house made of bread and cake. Oh my gosh, we're saved. Everything's perfect. Like, how many times have we been there? Oh my gosh, this is the solution. This is the answer. And it's a witch and she eats children. She imprisons them. How many times has that happened where we're like, well, great. Okay, I thought this was gonna work, and this is even worse. And going all the way down into that place of, how do we even figure this out? Both Hansel and Gretel begin to claim their own power and begin to shift their energy and begin to say, wait a minute, if I play this trick on the witch, or if I just wait till the right moment, we can shove her into the oven and we can get out of here. And of course, as soon as that happens and they claim their power, they look around the witch's house and there were jewels everywhere, diamonds and rubies and pearls. I didn't remember that from when I was a kid, but when I
I
went
know.
back,
Even as you're talking, I'm like, I need to reread the story.
yeah, that is in the story. That when they awaken to their own power, they look around and the place that they thought was a trap is full of treasure, right? It's full of possibility. And
Wow.
then the next day they walk outside and know exactly how to get back home. All of us have the wisdom within us to reconnect to what we're really here to be and what we're really here to do and why we're even in this incarnation at all. But we get lost and we get stuck and we feel trapped and we forget. And so it's about remembering. So
That
that
is
was what the retreat was
beautiful.
about. Yeah, it was
Yeah.
really, really fun.
What a cool theme for retreats. You have this
Yeah.
coming up, or this was when you already did?
That's the one that I did in January, and then I did it in August at Ghost Ranch, and then I'm going to be going back to Ghost Ranch next year to do a different retreat, unless we just want to do this one again. I mean, I'm getting good at it now. I mean, if I keep
I
doing it, I'm
bet.
going to
It
get it right.
sounds really incredible.
Yeah,
So, I mean,
it's
I sort of
powerful.
understand the premise of it as a theme. And then within that, I imagine you're sort of doing different activities to uncover your power and
Right,
see
right.
that you're not actually stuck.
Right, exactly. No, you totally got it. The idea that as we're talking not only about, everybody's talking about their abandonment and their sense of being lost and their sense of wandering in the wilderness, which we all experience, we all feel. And I'm hearing this man tell his story about the time that he felt that when in his first marriage. And then I'm hearing this person talk about how she felt that when she was in addiction. And then I'm hearing this person, and then this person starts sharing about the way out for me was, and then the next thing you know, then we're all doing this beautiful meaning making. What happens is that the more we sit with each other's stories and our own stories, first of all, we don't feel so alone.
Yeah.
And so we're so much less overwhelmed by the story. Do you know, when we feel trapped in it, we feel alone in it, we feel trapped in it. But when we feel like the story is shared and we hear that somebody else has gone through something similar, we think, oh my gosh, I'm not so alone after all. And then the thing that can come from there is, well, what did you do to find your way home? Well, what did you do to find your way out of that? And then there's exercises that we did to like embody that. We walked, there's a beautiful labyrinth at Ghost Ranch that we went and walked with a drum beat that we were all keeping together, and it felt like embodiment, and so on and so on. So I got lots of tricks.
Yeah, it sounds like it. They sound wonderful.
Yeah.
And what a cool experience for people. And I'm wondering in those situations, whether you're working one on one with somebody or even just the listeners, listening to this, as
Yeah.
it plays, is there, advice that you have as far as like, how do people even realize they're sort of stuck in a story or they're stuck
Mm-hmm.
in sort of that, like, I can't get out of this. And like, sometimes, I'll have conversations with people and they don't even realize that this is sort of the story they're feeding
Right.
themselves.
Right.
Like, how would somebody even know that that's like what's been occurring?
It's a great question. I think I think that the place that most people can find a way into seeing their story, rather than, and now I'll write out my life story and see what the patterns are, or make a mind map of my life or whatever,
Sure.
is actually one of the activities that I use a lot with clients, which is to say, what is the role you've been playing?
Mm,
And so when somebody says the role I've been playing is I'm the faithful husband, or the role I'm playing is I'm the family screw up, or the like, almost immediately, if they can put a label on it, they can see that it's something that defines them, but it's also something that they've been doing. And so one of the things I think is really helpful is to say, is this a role that I've been playing? Why was I playing it? Like who assigned me this role? What director gave me this role in the play that I'm in? And is it still working for me? Like, does this fit me? And almost immediately somebody will say, I can't not play this role. I have to play this role. And all of this is optional. All of this is optional. All we get to choose when we're ready whether we want to play that role anymore or not. And it just becomes a question of asking, well, then what do I want instead?
yeah.
And that's a very, very, very potentially transformative question. What do I want instead?
I love that. And I guess what comes up is that as you're saying that, I'm like, yeah, that sounds so good. But sometimes people's roles are like also sort of like superimposed on them by the
Yeah.
people in their life.
Yes.
So what advice do you have there if they're like, I can change this on my own, but like my wife is still going to see me as that, or my kids are still going to see me as that? You know, these other people in my life have this idea about who I am. Like, how do people break out of that?
Yeah. No, it's that's a really important question and issue, partly because our sense of ourself is not just based on our own how we move through the world. It is how we interact with other people. It's how other people give us feedback. It's based on our experience. I got rewarded for this, I got punished for this. This worked for me. This did not work for me. Those patterns become reinforced day after day, year after year, for decades sometimes, right? So the idea of just breaking out of it, you're right. It's just like, oh, I've just decided I'm not going to do this anymore. The the larger question is not what will other people think if I change. I mean, that's important. How are people going to push back? How are people going to be affected? Whose feelings is this going to hurt? Whatever. That's all important. The real question, I think, around resistance is, do I believe that I have permission to change within, even if nothing changes on the outside?
Mm.
Like, people can change their role in a marriage, people can
Yeah.
change their role in their job internally, because then it's a question of saying, I'm still going to show up in this marriage that I'm committed to. I'm still going to show up in this role as this manager in this company that I want to be in, that I'm responsible for these employees. I have this job. It's important. I provide for my family. But I'm going to change the way I see myself, as opposed to the suffering servant who's just grinding it out every day. I'm going to be the person who finds fulfillment in this role that I'm playing. So, yeah, there's the external, but really, I think deeper than that, the question is internal. How do I choose to show up in this role? And then the externals may change or not. There may be things that we're like, if we're the caregiver for someone who is in need of care, if we're the parent of a special needs child, if our elderly parent is in need of care, etc., those things just have to happen. That has to be done. Then the question becomes, what's happening inside of me as I respond to this responsibility that I have? And I get to decide what's happening inside of me. That what's outside of me doesn't get to decide that.
Yeah, that's absolutely beautiful. I love that. And that's so vital, and people having a sense of self and a sense of who they actually are and want to show up in the world as, but who they also identify as internally.
Right.
That makes such a massive shift when people can get to that space. Have you had people show up in your space where they're like, it's too late, it's too painful, it's too, where they're sort of I have a hard time imagining that there's something else possible beyond what they've, already been doing. And
Yeah,
how do you help somebody break out of that space if they're in like a really stuck, like this is
yeah.
just who I am kind of space?
That's for me personally, that's sometimes the hardest work. But it's not up to me to get them to shift, right? That's their
Yeah.
work.
Yeah.
But but there have been people who have said, um, yeah, I'm thinking of a couple actually in the last 6 months who have just said at a certain point, nope, I can't. The thing that I'm afraid I will lose if I shift, if I evolve, if I expand, I'm afraid of what I will lose, and I'm not willing to lose it. So I'm going to stay here. I
Yeah.
mean, I've literally had them say that, and in which case, that's I. My job was to walk alongside them as long as I was invited, and then I bless them on their way. Do you know what I mean? Like that's which is on the one hand, we're so American and we're so results oriented and so success oriented,
Right.
right? We're like, no, 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 my clients are. I'm. It's they are every human being around us, every person we see, and we forget this because we categorize each other and we dismiss each other. Everybody is on their sovereign path. Every single person, every person's path is theirs. And I mean, it is theirs. And I believe that their soul determined it, that they have things that they feel deep down inside that they're being guided by and led to, in which case, that's not my business. Like
Yeah.
that's their business. But I don't let go until I've tried all the tricks that I have because I want people, if they want to awaken, if they
Yeah.
want to expand, if they want to claim their own voice, their own agency, their own sovereignty, man, I want to help them if they can. Because
Yeah.
it's hard. Shift, change, evolving, it's risky. It's big.
Fair.
It's hard. I
Yeah.
get it.
No, I love what you're saying about that. Cause yeah, I mentor up and coming psychologists, things like that. And one of the things we talk a lot about is like you can't do it for them.
Yeah,
They have to ultimately want to change and
right,
desire for something different for their lives. And even if you can see all the potential and all the possibilities, if somebody isn't on board,
right.
you can't sort of drag them kicking and screaming into healing. They have to really want that for themselves. So I'm totally with you.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I want it. I want it for everybody.
Of
And
course.
I mean, I've had a couple of conversations with the universe. Like, how many people are we going to get to awaken while I'm here? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm getting older by the minute, and I usually just hear faint laughter in the distance.
I love that. And one of the things you say, and that I think drew me so much to you in the first place, was in your social media, you start most of your, if not all of your social medias with something to the extent of, beautiful, shining, gorgeous soul having a human experience. And
Yeah.
I love that so much.
Oh, I'm glad.
Can you talk a little bit about that? Like, I understand what you mean by that, but maybe not everybody does.
The the thing that we talked about a few minutes ago, where I said that it's when we can see that we're not our story,
Mm,
like that there is something within us, that there's something big within us that's way bigger than all the categorizations, all the definitions, all of the molds, all of the titles, all of the things that we've been told that we either are or should be or have to be. There is a thing that every human being is, that all the spiritual traditions, all of them throughout history, East, West, and every place in between, indigenous, etc., affirms that there is a part of us that is big and spiritual and eternal. And we're having this experience as this human being. And I absolutely believe that each of us is an embodiment of the source of all that is. And so I'm this person in this body right now. I'm this old. I'm in Austin, Texas at the moment, but that's not all of who I am. And so for me, the meditation process, the retreat process, the working with clients process, the inner work process, the sharing with people process. The book, when it comes out, when somebody reads that book that I have written, our souls are connected. Like that's what's happening in that moment. And I'm not in charge of that. This thing that I am, this person that I'm being, that my soul is being, is way too little for what it is that my soul is doing in the world. And I think all of our souls are doing in the world, that deeper part of us. So for me, it's just about even the beautiful possibility of connecting soul to soul, heart to heart in this deeper way that can awaken us and help us make it and make the world better. I really believe that.
Wow, absolutely. The energy as you speak is so bright and light and
Oh, thank you.
just incredible. So thank you so much. Is
Oh,
there, man, if people are looking to find you in the world, if they'd like to learn more about you, where can people go to find you?
drrickdiamond.com is my website, and then my social media handles on all the social medias is just at Dr. Rick Diamond, and I'm on all the things and putting out videos. And next year, I'm going to be offering some online courses and groups, which is going to be really, really fun. So if you're not up for like working with me individually, which is totally an option, which I get to do with lots and lots of people all over the world, then look for the opportunity for an online group setting and courses that I'm going to be offering and retreats. I don't know where all I'm going to be, but I'm going places. So I'd love to meet you. I'd love to connect. Anybody that's interested, just please, 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 please feel free to contact me. That's what I'm here for.
Incredible. Well, thank you so much for being on and for all of your wisdom today.
Oh, thank you, Melissa. This is amazing. Thank you for the work you're doing. Thank you for the message that you're putting out there into the world and for a lovely interview. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Oh, absolutely. Thank you so much. And thank you all for listening. And I will see you sometime somewhere in the world soon. Bye bye.